Can we ask, who's in the house? We would like you to speak to us. Electronic voice phenomena. The recording of paranormal voices that should not be there.
What do you consider successful when you come to a house? 1 EVP, 2, 5?
1. It's kind of a three-way communication. There's the person recording, there's the person in the etheric that decides that they're going to communicate with us, and then this little piece of equipment. There's a difference between threatening and negative. I asked how many people were in the house, and I was told 13. We've been doing this for 15 years. We've never gotten a threatening EVP.
It's an opportunity for them to speak when we're listening. We actually just consider ourselves experimenters. We're trying to learn to understand what the phenomena is and how it works and what it implies, but you could say we're paranormal investigators.
If someone told you both 25 years ago what you would be doing today, you would say to them what?
You're crazy.
Yeah. But just for a moment, think, what if that is a person on the other side speaking to us? The implications are just profound.
Tom and Lisa Butler are paranormal investigators who've devoted their lives to exploring the unexplainable. We'll follow them on an intimate journey, first to a haunted castle in the Hollywood Hills, and then to a Chicago nightclub with a rich history of paranormal activity. They'll attempt not only to hear voices from the other side, but to open a door of communication between this world and the next. You've lived here about 30 years. What is it that attracted you to this house and kept you here for so long?
When I first came into the home, I felt immediately that the house was shrouded in an aura of mysticism, a surrealistic feeling.
What do you do when you first walk into a house?
I guess you just kind of get a feel of it. There is an energy here, and we're just going to have to work with it a little bit and see what we're sensing.
If I go into a brand new home, it's like it's dead. The home is dead. This home is very old, but it's very much alive.
So there's a history here.
Yes.
Would that then transfer to the home in your experience?
It very much could. So we're going to go into a bedroom up here, I think. Interesting, in this room, okay, I feel almost like a barometric pressure. All right, I'm going to try and record for a second here. We don't mean to intrude on your space. We mean you no harm. We'd like a message from you.
That energy is still going somewhere.
Do you feel an energy in this house?
From the beginning.
We were up here just a second ago, and Tom felt like there was somebody that didn't want us in the room.
So perhaps that's why there's no communication now?
Perhaps they've left.
Should we go to
Yes.
another part then?
Okay, let's do that. This is a little alcove going toward the outside. A lot of times in a small area, it depends on how much traffic, but we'll pick up things in small areas. So again, we ask if somebody is here with us, we mean you no harm. We'd like to know about you. Can you tell us your name? Thank you so much for speaking to us. Okay.
Wait a minute. There's a red light here. Mm-hmm. When your voice was talking, the light was on. Mm-hmm. When everything was quiet, I saw it flashing.
Right.
That's correct. In the other room,
It wasn't doing it.
it's a voice-activated recorder.
Would you call this a haunted house?
Again, surreal. It's in the cracks.
So this is the basement area of Hollymont Castle. And when you walked in here, did you sense anything?
Somebody spent a lot of time. I get almost a sense of somebody with an easy chair sitting here, almost reclusive in this room.
Like an older person
Yeah.
was in this room?
So what we might try to do is ask if we can ask who it is.
All right. Is there, tell us about the history of this room.
Can you give us the name of the person I'm sensing that used to spend a lot of time here?
This house was Hollywood, the original Hollywood, the Hollywood Hills before Beverly Hills. The aura of Humphrey Bogart and all of these people. Barbara Stanwyck lived here with her husband, Frank Fay. There wasn't any of the great old movie stars that weren't here.
They're trying probably every bit as hard to reach us as we are to reach them. And I think that a lot of these messages are truly a demonstration of one, I'm all right, or two, you're going to be all right too.
Well, what I'm going to want to do is stretch that out. Whoa. The very first recording, you're going to get your best voice.
Now, you've isolated a portion. I see you highlight an area. Right.
And usually I loop it back and forth.
You think that's a voice saying hi?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take it in a larger context.
But there's a lot of noise before it.
But you believe that to be an EVP?
Right. We were all together. None of us said hi.
Or I, or anything.
And once again, we'll verify that with the other recordings to make sure, but it sounds, in a way it's kind of appropriate because what we're doing is just walking upstairs into that area.
There are a lot of levels here, a lot of locations. We're going to go to several of them. You'll lead us through. When you get a sense of something, we'll stop. We'll talk about it, okay? So why don't we go?
All right. Good.
When we go into an area like this, we sense that there's an entity in there. In effect, we're asking a stranger to talk to us.
Amazing place.
So when we talk to them, we treat them with respect, ask them if they would talk to us. And so that's part of what this is about.
This is Tom and Lisa Butler, and we would like to make communication with whoever is here. I can feel your presence. Can you tell me who you are?
Some will tell you about the disembodied lights in some of the darkened hallways that are unaccountable. Glass bottles being thrown from shelves by unseen hands have been recorded, and actual outlines, recognizable outlines of people that come back again and again.
I think that this person might not want to speak to us, so.
There are cold spots in the building, even on the hottest nights.
We mean you no harm. We simply would like to communicate with the beings that are in this building. Why have you stayed here? All right, thank you for communicating. It's very interesting that this is quieter. I felt like this is quieter than that hallway. And yet we were definitely picking up something. And it got colder.
You go with what you sense. You trust it and go with it. That's why when Lisa's looking over in that corner, it's better for us to go take a look than to ignore it.
You can go this way, you can go this way. You're led. You want to go this way.
It's much like the little tingling at the back of your neck when someone walks into the room and you look to see where they are and there's nobody there.
So far, what I'm feeling is locations, definite locations.
Where something happened, you think, or?
I don't know. It's like a palpable difference in how I feel right now and where we're going to go in just a few minutes. There's one area that makes me very, very sad, and I haven't experienced that before, actually. So it'll be very interesting to record in that area. What is this terrible sadness I feel here? Why do you stay here? Do you know that you're dead?
During the Great Chicago Fire, we have an account from the journal of the curator of the Chicago Historical Society at that time, who records that there was a group of 3 or 4 women that had run into the building to hide from the fire, essentially, and who never emerged. And so it's believed that their spirits may also be trapped here as well.
we're going to need to do this again. They're not talking, and they're here.
There was a ship called the Eastland, which was on the Chicago River, playing host to an employees outing for a local energy company. And unexpectedly, it capsized, trapping about 900 men, women, and children. And a number of the buildings in the area, as you said, were turned into makeshift morgues.
It's important, before I leave this building, that if I can, I get them to communicate what it is in this room. And
Do you feel that
why.
we're intruding at this point?
Maybe.
Do you want to try it without us?
I would like
I
to.
think
Why don't we let
I
you?
mean,
Why don't we let you try it without us?
All right,
We'll leave.
all right,
You stay,
all right,
and then we'll talk about
all
it.
right, all right. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
give us a few minutes.
Do you have a camera? It's okay. Is there anything that we can do to help you? You know, if you just look up, if you just look up, and just look for the light, and there'll be people there to greet you. Well, think about it, all right? Okay, I'm gonna stop.
In some cases where you're dealing with spirits that were taken from bodies at a young age or prematurely, it wouldn't be unusual for a spirit to be grieving its own loss.
I think maybe we got something, and so that's important. It's okay. It's okay.
So you really don't know if there's a success until days or weeks later.
That's right.
You've had a week to analyze. You're about to play something that happened in my presence. We walked up the stairs at Hollymont. We were about to go in the bedroom. Let's hear what happened.
You hear footsteps, that's us walking, and then you hear the voice.
We're going to move into a bedroom on the second floor now.
I heard Betty's in there.
Right.
Yes.
I would say if the spirits reside there and that they accepted us and wanted to talk.
And did you get that same feeling in Chicago?
I've never experienced anything like that in my life. This was, I mean, you saw how I fell apart.
Tom, have you ever seen Lisa react this way?
I've never seen her get emotional about it. We try to not to, actually, because we feel like we're trying to be somewhat analytical about it.
Did you find any EVPs?
We had a man who came first and said, I did it. So it's like, what did he do, right? And then he says, it's my ship.
We feel like these EVPs are coming from the person that either was the captain of the ship or had hired the ship, somehow felt responsible for the deaths. And I did it, it's pretty clear on that.
And when I started getting emotional and I was saying,
We are all connected.
I will stay here.
Think for a second about the enormity of what this means, and just try to put it into perspective that we have this voice on here, and not only that, but they just responded to something we asked.
What bigger proof is it that we survived death? I mean, this is objective evidence.
The most logical thing for us all to do now is to revisit what we call death and change it to something else as, like we say, the transition or the other side. After you get past the shock, you start looking for the reassurance. And that's what we hope to have people do.
We're trying to reach our good friend Barbara Thurman. Barbara, thank you for trying to speak to us.
EVP, or electronic voice phenomena, are unexplained recorded voices. The existence of these recordings raise many questions.
Can't even touch it.
Some believe these are the voices of the dead, communicating from the other side.
I wanted to know that my son was okay. I've always been a believer
in the afterlife, but never as strong as I believe it now with all the evidence that I've gathered together.
When you hear that voice, it changes your reality. What is this? How could this voice be there?
There's some activity recently up here because we've heard that recently there was suicide.
There is some history on this room, supposedly. Apparitions have been spotted with the man with the top hat on, all dressed in black.
I started feeling something really strong right here.
Electronic voice phenomena is the recording of paranormal voices on all sorts of recording media that should not be there.
Hello? Who's there?
There's no known scientific explanation for why they're there.
That thousands of people in the world claim to receive communications by the EVP.
If somebody is here and somebody wants to speak or show yourself, please do so.
I think the age that we're living in, the time has come for this information and knowledge to come forward.
EVP is a variety of instruments that you can use to be able to connect with the other side, to be able to connect with the divine mind.
Repeatedly, tests have been done, and we are not picking up radio signals. The AAEVP is the American Association of Electronic Voice Phenomena. We simply exist to educate the public about EVP. Sarah Eastup was the original founder.
Back in about 1975, I started a quarterly newsletter, and I kept the thing going for 18 years, and it grew and grew, and I ended up with about 300 members in about 40 states in this country and 12 or 13 foreign countries.
Okay, sweetie, you come up here and play what you think you have.
Yes, I hear that. Very heavy. She asked, what is life like on the other side? He said, very heavy, which may mean he's not too happy.
People studying various forms of phenomena voice, and they describe electronic voice as a thickening of available background noise.
You know, this is a typical EVP. This is what you've got to listen for. It says she's right, fact.
Basically what it boils down to is that we believe it's a telekinetic manipulation of physical energy.
Anybody get anything?
It's the type of results that we got over the years that have convinced me that EVP is a communication with another level of reality, another level of intelligence.
We get so excited because, you know, I know that this is a voice.
What our association is about is bringing this to the mother that has lost the child, to the husband that's lost the wife. Right from the beginning, we're really not interested in skeptics, we're interested in helping people.
I came to be here because, of course, I lost my daughter on December 23rd, 2001, and 5 months later, my niece picked her voice off her computer.
A lot of people have picked up the recorder and been able to make a recording of, maybe it might be just I miss you, or I love you, or their name of a lost loved one that's on the other side, and you find out by recognizing the voice.
They're still around us, they're still here. They haven't gone anywhere. I mean, you think they've gone off to La La Land, but they're around you all the time. I think EVP is a very valuable tool in the healing process of grief. After Kathy died, you know, I tried going through the grief therapist and psychiatrist, and that none of them believed in this. So what I want you to do now is to form a group. We're going to form a circle, and we're going to hold hands. And I would tell them, I said, I've got my daughter's voice. I was real excited, and it's like, yeah, right. You know, we'll put you in some more drugs. What do you know, anything you want, we'll write up for you.
Jamie died in a car accident 7 years ago.
Can you give me your name?
This is my opportunity to be proactive in reaching out to my daughter.
My name's Karen Mossy, and I lost my son, Rob, from a seizure in August of 2000.
I'll never fully recover from having lost a child, but through this, I know that I can communicate with my son.
EVP is prone to intrusions. It's just the natural law. You know, nothing esoteric here, nothing paranormal, just unknown, just we do not know about it so far. If we do not have validation, this will never be recognized.
Do you hear that? Helen,
There's a lot of psychic research that's very scientific, from Nobel laureates to professors, and it has a long history and tradition going back over 100 years.
Think of the loved one that you want to hear from.
I have no problem with skeptics. It's nice to have some balance to that so that you know that the information you're getting is good.
Try to speak to us, please. Please try to speak to us.
Life, it doesn't end with death. It's just a transition into the next stage of life.
So are you? So are you? It's not a scary thing. It's something that is worth working with.
Edward, please try to speak to us.
I admit it takes a lot to scare me now, but I welcome it. And that's my message to people. If you have a paranormal experience, welcome it, because there's something there for you.
If anybody gets anything, raise your hand. If you hear something, you got something.
We hope that in subtle little ways it helps people understand that there's much more to their reality than what they're experiencing at this minute.
Jamie Ann Quillen.
Okay, chatterbox.
If you open up to it and you provide the tools and provide the window, it's going to happen.
Carl Edward.
Carl, please try to speak to us.
EVP and all of this other research is really just an entry point and a doorway to open people's minds to actually think about what is the greater context for existence that we find ourselves in.
Maya, please speak to us.
If there is life after death, if we do survive physical death, what does that mean about how we choose to live in the world?
Gisela Cosmo.
Okay. Gisela.
1% at a time, we're trying to convince people that we survive.
See for yourselves, make all the tests yourselves, do your own analysis, and then decide honestly.
EVP is extremely easy for anyone to do. All you need is a typical cassette recorder that you can purchase at any store or online. This is the body type that we would suggest because the buttons are bigger, and since EVP are short, 2 seconds, you're going to hear little snippets of sound that you're going to want to replay. With the cassette recorder, you also are going to want to use some sort of microphone. Hopefully it's just something that you have around the house.
One of the keys for them, though, is that you do need to supply background noise.
People actually use running water, a fan, a radio station turned to white noise, a white noise generator.
You need to have a counter. You need to have a headphone jack so you can plug in your headphones.
So that's it for a cassette recorder. The recorder that Tom and I now use, and we have used for the last 2 years, is called a IC recorder. They are voice activated. They'll only activate when we speak or spirit activates them. This cuts down on the time needed to listen back to recordings.
As a recording device, it turns out that the internal noise of the circuitry is what actually causes the noise necessary for the formation of the voices. So you don't have to bring noise generators with you. You don't have to bring anything. You just use them by themselves. If you are willing or able to make the step from the cassette recorder into an IC recorder with a computer, then it opens up quite a world for you in terms of capability. There's a lot of side benefits of that, though. When you use a computer, now all of a sudden you can use amplification, noise filtration. You can cut little pieces of it and actually save just the EVP and mail it to your friends. And on our website, aaevp.com, we have instructions on how to be able to record these into your computer and also how to work with the software in order to be able to experiment with it.
It takes a lot of time to listen back to these carefully. So we would suggest you only record 3 to 5 minutes. For some reason, their energy is highest at the very beginning. So turn the recorder on and wait 30 seconds and then announce yourself. We wanted to show you what a typical EVP was like. You can hear our footsteps, and we are not speaking. Okay, now, I just feel like I heard something, so why don't you take your cursor and highlight that area. We get a paranormal voice asking us, who's there? Many people all over the world are recording these voices. This was recorded in an area where there was a death, and so you will hear me say, can you tell us your name?
Can you tell us your name?
Maybe you'll be able to hear him say Jason.
Okay.
Then Tom will amplify it.
You can start to hear that. Now, if we do the whole thing,
Can you tell us your name?
That isn't filtered, it isn't messed with. You don't want to just take our word for it. You can do this too. You can record those who are on the other side. You can record their voices through simple technology.